Yeah, let the big dog hunt. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kallas Remarks with your host, Joe Staszak, and of course, star of the show, Steve Kallas. Steven, how you doing, my friend?
All good, Joe. Great to be with you as always.
You too. Good football weather outside, at least in the Philadelphia area. Snow's starting to come down. Week 14 is upon us. It started on Thursday night. Cowboys at the Lions. Cowboys coming off back-to-back wins over both finalists in the Super Bowl last year, and there's a lot of talk about, oh, can the Cowboys catch the Eagles? Because the Eagles, it has that 2023 feel. Not sure. Time will tell if it's a collapse, but we'll see. And then Detroit got some separation. Dallas came back in the game a little bit, and then Detroit, they're fast. All right, when that offense is cooking, they're cooking, and Dallas's defense, despite Quinn Williams and Logan Davis and Kenny Clark and some tweaks, they're a ways away. Their offense is legit, although George Pickens kind of disappeared. He pulled a Pittsburgh. We'll talk about that in a little
You
bit.
ain't kidding.
But you're right. But uh, I love Detroit in that game, and another reason is because I think everyone loved Dallas, and when everyone likes one side, I'm like, oh, cool. I'm gonna go the other way on that. What'd you think?
I just have one thing to say about that game because I'm watching it. I'm texting with Johnny, of course, who's sorry he can't make it here today, but he's coming back on Tuesday. But the Lions had 20 quarterback pressures, their highest of the season. They had 10 in the fourth quarter. It seemed like every time the Cowboys snapped the ball, that the Lions blitzed. It seemed like every time they had a guy getting right in Dak's face immediately. So I'm screaming at the TV when the Lions have the ball. How do you beat the Lions? You pressure Goff. Goff is terrible under
You
pressure.
can't
Going back
move.
to his Rams days, probably the reason he was traded.
Yeah.
But they did not. I don't know if they blitzed two times in the fourth quarter. I'm looking at every play just saying, just blitz. They got nowhere with four. They got nowhere
I
with
don't know
four.
why more teams don't do that.
And every time they lined up, they had their three linebackers 3 yards off the ball. You couldn't even fake a blitz. I don't understand it. And I don't think anybody asked them. I even watched NFL Live and they were talking about things that happened. But I thought the number one reason, I thought Dallas could win outright. Um,
Okay.
I thought the number one reason that they lost the game is that they hardly blitzed. And I'm just sitting there going, you're watching the other team, they're blitzing all the time. You're watching your team. If you give it to Goff, 25 for 34, 309 yards, one touchdown, but no picks. And the other one they just gave it to Gibbs and he had three rushing touchdowns, but he was also seven receptions for 77 yards. So I think all they had to do was blitz. Now, I'm nuts for the blitz, as you know, for years, but I just don't understand. And I don't know. I didn't see any interviews where they asked the coach afterwards, can't you blitz any at all? Maybe they'll say they're weaker in the linebackers or whatever. Whatever you're going to say. I thought there was one time late in the third quarter they did blitz. They got a free runner to Goff, but Goff was able to get away. But I'm like, once you saw that, why don't you blitz like they blitz?
Yeah, it's a philosophy type of thing. I don't quite get it. Eagles rarely blitz, and I think it's the key to stopping the other team. You don't have to always get to the quarterback, but when you pressure him and make him make a quicker decision, I think it's advantageous.
And
There
you'll
are
see,
guys
I
that get
think,
rid of the ball very quickly and know where they're going. And, Brady was hard to blitz. Peyton Manning was hard to blitz. Dak's usually hard to blitz. But man, they were all over him. They made his night miserable Thursday night.
5 sacks, 5 sacks. And I'll say it again, pressure 10 times in one quarter is like unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And that's exactly what the Lions did in the fourth quarter. So if you want to stay in that game, it seems to me you got to give the Lions a taste of their own medicine. And what I'll be interested to see is I don't even know who the Lions are playing next. I'm going to try and watch that game on the ticket because I think they're going to blitz like crazy because that's the word on Goff. And that's why they're 7-5 before this game. And that's why I thought they could lose, but I was wrong.
It's all good, man. It's all good. So Dallas, it looks like they're kind of done, which is,
Yeah. I mean, well, that was a myth. That was Jerry Jones hoping
yeah,
against hope, I think.
yeah. No, I agree with that. Some interesting games this week. The Bengals, I mean, they're 4-8. They're pretty much shot, but Joe Burrow is back in the mix, and at the Bills, and the Bills are a little up and down. They coming off a big win over the Steelers, and they ran the ball very well. It's in Buffalo. Um, Big spread on that game. Buffalo -6, and again, we're talking Joe Burrow. I'm not sure how the weather's going to be in Orchard Park, but your thoughts on that game?
Well, the good news for the Bengals is T. Higgins is going to play. So I think it's the first time all year that Chase and Higgins and Burrow have all played together. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But the Bills have some problems because no Joey Bosa, who was really good last week. Um, Also, the linebacker Bernard, he's not playing. And Joshua Palmer, one of their wide receivers, is doubtful. So that puts the Bills in a little bit of trouble. That's a tough game for me to pick because the Bills were so up and down, and then they were unbelievable last week, right? They just ran over the Steelers.
Yeah, they are very up and down in Pittsburgh. It was an embarrassing loss for Pittsburgh.
It was like 11 against 7.
Yeah,
And the Bengals are the Bengals, with Joe Burrow, he wants to win every game. And even if they won every game, they'd be 9-8. I don't know that that would be good enough anyway. And in retrospect, it's interesting. Should they have played him? I said they shouldn't have played him against the Patriots because you didn't want to go Sunday, Thursday, and they didn't. And on Thursday, of course, they won. But I don't know. And now he's had, what, 10 days or whatever it is to recover from that first game. But I really thought that if Burrow played, they might be able to beat the Patriots. And as you know, the Patriots won without Joe Burrow. But if they had Burrow against the Patriots, they could have won that
could
game.
have
And
won
then
that game.
you might be going in the back of your head if we run the table, we're 10-7, and that could be the difference, 10-7 and 9-8. But I I I love Joe Burrow, of course. I don't think the Bengals are gonna. I don't think they're going to run the table. I think they have a chance in this game. I'm not going to pick it because, again, whenever we talk about these teams now, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Bills, the top three teams, if you want, for the last few years, which team's showing up?
Don't
Which team
know.
is showing up? I know we're going to talk about the Texans. I give them a chance to beat Kansas City, but you just don't know like it used to be. Even the Lions. Okay, the good offense and okay defense enough to win. They did enough to win, but there's no, yeah, they're going to play. I would go all the way back to the old Patriots or even the Chiefs of a few years ago. Their defense isn't quite what it was. So you just don't know in these games that have those teams. It's very hard to pick those games.
Very hard to pick those games. Seattle at Atlanta. That's a big line on the road. I know Seattle's been very good on the road. I don't know what to make of them because Sam Darnold is one of the leaders in the league in interceptions, and they still win. I know they played against a rookie quarterback last week. It was awful,
Ooh, awful, awful.
awful for Minnesota. And their defense is opportunistic. Didn't give up a point. 26-0 win. They're 9-3. Um, that's a big line. The Falcons are. I mean, they're trying to win every game. Although I think they're a lost cause this year. But what do you think of that game?
I'm interested in the Falcons and talk about an up and down team, but I think they lost to the Jets last week. I
They are, and
think that
that's
was
the
well,
definition of an up and down team.
I think that was one of my picks. Whatever. But the Falcons have a very good defense. And now Kirk Cousins is, I like Kirk Cousins better than their guy.
We both do.
Isn't he the $27 million backup or something, Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins,
he gets
or
paid a
some
lot of
absurd
money.
number? So that's a tough game as well because I'm not saying Sam Darnold is seeing ghosts, but he has that leg injury. And I think everybody's now focused on Jonathan Taylor because he's just not running like he was. He was an MVP the first 8, 10 games of the year, more so than Daniel Jones. A lot of people thought, including me. Um, I don't think the Falcons can win, but I think they can cover. But I'm not going to pick that game because you don't know which Falcons team is showing up. And I think people are going to say, oh, they won 26-0 last week, so let's go, Seattle. But you're right, Seattle, I don't know if it's still a streak. They had won 9 or 10 in a row on the road. And I don't think that streak was stopped. So you got to like him from that perspective. I'll say it again. I don't know if he really has a broken fibula. Maybe it's a mild break or not a real break. I don't know how he can play. I know last week they said he could run forward and
Yeah,
backwards,
it's a
but
non-displaced fracture, so
but he couldn't run side to side.
Hmm.
And again, the Falcons have a good defense. They're kind of under the radar because they've had a not good year. But it's a pass game for me. But I don't think the Falcons can win. But I do think they can keep it close.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so let's talk about Daniel Jones and the Colts, and they're at Jacksonville minus a point and a half. They haven't been able to win really when it's come down to Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I say Daniel Jones a minute ago when I meant Sam Darnold?
Yeah, no, I know who you meant. Okay, sorry. Yes, I
No,
wasn't sure if you were
that's because they're
transitioning
both
into the.
from New York. They were
Yeah,
born in New York, both of them, and
this
now
is
they're
true.
stars.
This is
I,
true.
I
Well,
apologize. I do mix them up because of that.
that's okay.
Oh boy.
Um, I thought you were transitioning, so I just ran with it. So Colts in at Jacksonville, both 8-4. Colts and again favored on the road. Vegas likes the Colts, and they got beat last week. They haven't been the same since the early going when I think they were 8-1. So your thoughts on that game?
I don't know. Again, just too up and down for me. I mean, I don't. Well, what I just said, which I said for the wrong team, of course. uh, it's just these games are all toss-ups to me, Joe. I
They,
really.
they, they are toss-ups. Here, I'll give you one. This one jumped off the page a little bit, and I'm not sure if the line is screwy,
Uh-oh.
because I'm not a big believer in Green Bay, although they've won three in a row. And Jordan Love, not a big fan. I mean, watching the Bears dismantle the Eagles, they look legit, but Caleb Williams is still his passing percentage is way down in the league. They run the ball very well. 6.5 point dogs in Lambeau. What do you think of that?
Well, I kind of like the Packers in this game. I went back and forth on it a lot. I watched as much as I could. I studied as much as I could this week. And here's what I think is going to be, you can laugh. This could be a key to the game. I don't know if you saw the Ben Johnson interview about playing the Packers this week. And
They replayed the sound bites from his opening press conference.
and the very end was yeah, I enjoy beating the
Matt
Packers twice a
LaFleur
year.
twice a year.
Now, I think that's a stupid thing to say. First of all, you probably know this. The Packers are 11-1 against the Bears in their last 12
Oh, they
games,
own the Bears.
although the win was last year. Um, but I kind of like the Packers in this game because I think that's bulletin board material. And I think the coach is going to hang it up on the bulletin board and say, hey, fellas, do me a favor on this one. Do me a favor. Let's
Hmm.
get a pass rush. Let's complete passes. Um, I kind of like the Packers, although I agree with you. 6.5 struck me as high. But I think they're going to do everything they can to blow out the Bears. I don't think they can blow out the Bears, but I do think they can win by 7. And I think what they're going to have to do is stop the Bears running game. And that's very hard to do, as you saw last week.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, but having said that, here's what I saw. Here's what I heard. This is from Mina Kimes, who, we think is great. Um, the Bears are the worst team in football, or 29th or something, against passes more than 15 yards downfield, even though the Bears lead the league in turnovers, right? In recovering fumbles and interceptions, takeaways, they lead the league. Um, but Love is 19. Tell me if you knew this, because I didn't. He's 19 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. We always say there could be a Love interception. Well, there's only been 3. Now, you could also say the Bears are the team to get the Love interception, and that's a possibility. So, do I think the Bears can win? I do. But I think the Packers are going to win, and I think they can win by 7 or even more points. But I agree with you; it's kind of high. It's a little screwy. But normally that would make, I think, Joe Staszak pick the Packers because it's
Exactly.
screwy.
That's why
Uh,
I paused there.
so the Packers are one of my picks, and I think that's going to be. I think the players will be up when they hear that their coach was insulted by saying I love beating the Packers every, because that was with the Lions, of course. And so we'll see what happens there. But I'll say it again this year. Although you and Johnny Callis were 3-0 last week, we might have to talk about that. Or maybe, I said last week I wanted to wait till Johnny picked so I could take all his picks. And stupid me, I didn't let him go first, but that'll change in the future, Joe. But now you're the guy. You're both 3-0, so we might might have to keep a close eye on what you pick because Johnny couldn't quite make it today.
Well, one of the picks last week I think Johnny had the same pick was the Texans, and they've been
Mhm.
a terror. I think they started the season 0-3. They're 7-5. Can't seem to be able to hide from that defense, that pass rush, and they're at
Yeah,
the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are a three. Am I missing something? 3.5 point favorite. I mean, that could to me that's a little off. Chiefs are a 3.5 point favorite, and the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs anymore. They just aren't.
I think what you just said is the key, and again, Mina Kimes yesterday said Chris Jones has to have the game of his life. I don't know if Chris Jones can have the game of his life.
Right.
He's still getting doubled. He's still a first ballot Hall of Famer to me. We talked about him in that first Super Bowl where he was the key that nobody thought he was the key, and he was the key. They could have given him the MVP on that first one. But I think they're in trouble. I think the Texans are a coming team, and CJ Stroud is now healthy. He's back. He had that terrible, seemed like a sophomore slump or whatever they call it in college, right? But now he's playing better, and I think they're a force to be reckoned with. I think the Texans can win that game. And again, it's hard to say that against the Chiefs, but now we've seen it. They're 6-6. So I don't think that the Chiefs are another team where we said about the Bills are up and down, the Chiefs are up and down, the Eagles are up and down. Are the Chiefs and Eagles the Super Bowl this year? I don't think so. Maybe one of them, but I don't think so. And I don't think the Chiefs. Look, I remember the whole Tom Brady. He's better than Tom Brady now. He's won these Super Bowls already. He's got three and blah blah blah. And now that's like, can they make the playoffs? And
I
if they lose this game, Joe, I don't think they make the playoffs.
I don't
So
think I don't think they make it anyway.
we've been waiting for the Chiefs to explode, and they really just haven't exploded. Last year they were able to win. I think they were 12-0 in one score games. This year they're like 1-5 or something.
Yeah, that's a
So
big
that's a big
difference.
difference, obviously, from one season to the next.
Eagles Chargers, Justin Herbert having surgery on Monday and he's going to play in a week. I mean, I know he's tough and he likes to play. I don't think he likes to play hurt, but he does play hurt. Eagles are a favorite, 2.5 point favorite in this game on the road. And they really stunk last week, stunk the last 2 weeks offensively.
Which Chargers team is showing up? Which Eagles team is showing up? Lane Johnson's not back, right?
Now,
It's the Lane Johnson rule: 4-9. Then they were 4-10, and now they're 4-11
we're
without
in
Lane
11.
Johnson, and they're looking at 4-12. But again, you don't know what Chargers team is going. I lost all respect for them last year in the playoff game, much as I like Herbert. And I think Harbaugh is just half a whack job. I mean, look, he wins wherever he goes, but he's half a whack job.
He
And I
is.
don't know if he's making this stuff up during press conferences or he's just out of his mind. But you have to tell me which team, which Chargers team is showing up, which Eagles team is showing up. If they both play their best, I like the Eagles. But the Eagles now, they're weak on the offensive line, as you know. Uh, they still have the AJ Brown. Did I get the ball enough? Although he did get the ball enough, right? Did he have two touchdowns? Was that
Yeah,
last?
yeah, he had a good game against the Bears.
So I don't know. To me, that I couldn't pick a winner in that game because I just don't know if the bad Chargers show up, the Eagles will win. If the bad Eagles show up, the Chargers will win. If they both show up bad, it'll be a scrum.
Agreed. Agreed. But Vegas still likes the Eagles to win the tight ones. And Justin Herbert, I mean, I get that. Like if he can't play or if he's playing hampered, that could affect how the Chargers come out on Monday night. All right, picks time, brother.
Next time, I'm going to defer to Johnny Callis and Joe Staszak for the rest of the season because they were both 3-0 last week. I'm going to try and go last the next time both of them are on. Like I said last week, I should copy Johnny's picks if he went first. He was 3-0. God bless him. I'm going to take the Texans. I think they can win outright, but I even think if they don't win outright, plus 3.5, that's a big field goal. The Chiefs will have maybe the way to, win one of those one-score games again, which they recently won. Um, so I like the Texans getting 3.5. Um, I like the Packers minus 6.5, Joe, because I think again that bulletin board material to me anyway, it's bulletin board material. Ben Johnson, now what? They've won like 7 in a row or something. They've got a really good winning streak. But I think he's getting a little brave there. And I
Well, that
think
was from last year's, that was from his introductory, that was from months ago. He said that
oh,
months ago.
is that right? Okay.
Yeah, that
But
was his
hey,
introductory press conference.
I would still put it up there then.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, ESPN, I thought did a nice job running it. at an appropriate time, and it's out
Right.
there now.
And
Out there.
I think maybe Love is better than we think because he's again 19 TDs, 3 interceptions. But again, the Bears lead the NFL in takeaways, but they're also terrible against long passes downfield. So I think the Packers can hit some big long shots. And of course, you got to see if the Packers can stop the Bears' running game, which is a big if. But I'll take the Packers -6.5. I also took the Joe Staszak rule. It seems too high to me. So I'll go Texans +3.5, Packers -6.5, and then the dreaded Joe Staszak -5.5. I'm going to take the Ravens at home. Um, the Steelers have been terrible. Uh, and also, Aaron Rodgers was playing with something on his left hand, right? And right
He
now,
was
I think
hurt.
he's playing, and the Ravens defense is playing better. Um, I think there's going to be, I think the Ravens can run the ball. They said Lamar couldn't practice, I think, on Wednesday and Thursday. Something happened to him at practice, and still people think that hamstring is affecting, which we all think because he's not Lamar. He's not sprinting away from guys whenever he feels like it. And he also hasn't been very accurate, but I think this is to win this. This is really to win the division, or certainly to take the lead, right? So, but they're both six and
Yeah,
six.
it's both 6-6.
So I'll take the Ravens -5.5, despite the Joe Staszak rule, because I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think Lamar is going to be better, and if they are, I think they win the game. The question is by how much.
Okay, I'm going with the Falcons at home against Seattle. I know Seattle's good on the road, but I'm still not sold on them. Their turnover ratio as a team is low, and Sam Darnold, his interception rate is high.
Falcons
Um,
plus what, Joe?
what's that?
Falcons plus what?
+6.5.
Because I'll write it down today.
Thank you. And I'm going to go. I mean, again, the Bills are up and down. That line's a little high, but the Bengals defense, you don't know how poorly they're going to play, but they
What
have Joe
defense?
Burrow, and I'm going to go with the Bengals again and plus the 6 in Buffalo. And this I don't know why the Chiefs are 3.5 point favorites at home, but I can't give up. I can't pass up the Texans the way they're playing, getting points against a Chiefs team that I don't believe in. But the Texans are probably the hottest team in the league right now. Getting points +3.5. I'm going with them. So those are my three picks. And you want to talk a little hoop?
Just a little hoop. First thing, a couple of small. I don't know if they're small. Does Giannis want out of town? When Giannis was a free agent, and I thought he'd probably leave. He'd gotten the championship. I think that's when he signed the big contract. But he seems very unhappy now. And I don't know if you saw it. Did you see when he came out of the game? He was playing, and
Yeah, the phantom calf strain. I don't know because it looked like he wasn't even. It looked like he was on his left leg when he jumped. I'm like, I think he missed. He missed. Calculated. I don't like to call, especially him. He seems like a good guy,
yeah, well,
MVP.
they lost again yesterday. They're now 1-6 without him. And I thought it was just very weird because normally when you go down with no contact, it's a knee and it's a problem, or it's an Achilles, it's a
Or an
problem.
Achilles.
But they did ask Doc Rivers, this is on Wednesday. They did ask Doc Rivers, so were you worried about Giannis leaving? And he goes, we've had no conversations. There have been no conversation. He's never said he wants to be traded. And that apparently is dreaming. Apparently
Saw
it's
that. Yeah.
the question is, and boy, I wish Johnny was here for this. But the question is, will Johnny Callis get his wish? Have Giannis go to the Knicks? Well, you'd have to make them a championship contender if Giannis shows up on the Knicks.
Oh, absolutely. But what do the Knicks give up?
I don't know who they'd have to give up, but they have to give up a lot. I don't know if they have any first round draft picks to trade away, but they'll get them for the next what, 3 years, 4 years? Giannis is 31 years old, which is he's still got a few really good years in front of him. He doesn't have I don't think he has like 5 or 7 or 10, but we'll see. The other weird thing, I don't know if you saw about this. This is really weird. Chris Paul was I thought the Clippers could be good. Once again, I always follow the Clippers. They got Harden, they got my guy, and he just doesn't play a lot of games anymore. And it just it's troublesome to me. But they have Chris Paul, veteran leadership. He was not on speaking terms for a couple of weeks with Ty Lue, and he's no longer on the team. I assume he's going to go somewhere else and play because this was his last year, right? I
I
think
would
he.
think so.
So it's just very strange because they have Hall of Famers, and it doesn't. They're like last I looked, they were 6-15,
The
and
6 and 17,
6-17. Okay, it's not getting any better, I guess.
16 games out.
Yeah, so they're in deep trouble, but he's probably going to try and hook on with with a winner. I would think somebody would take him to be the backup point guard, play, 12 to 15 minutes a game, help younger players, if
Right, sure.
that kind of guy. Just I don't know exactly what happened. I couldn't really find much. Um, and one other basketball thing I wanted to talk about that I think you'll get a kick out of. Um, so first of all, you know about OKC. They won, they beat the Mavs. They're now 22 and 21. So every win they're putting on ESPN, greatest starts in the history of basketball.
22 and 1. Yes.
Right. So the Knicks 69-70, they won the championship. Willis Reed, game seven. They were 22 and 1 after 23 games. The Rockets in 1993-94, which I always call the no Michael Jordan years. There were those two Michael Jordan years where the
The
Houston.
Olajuwon led up to two titles. Yep.
Right, including in 94, 7 games over the Knicks, of course. And John Starks 2 for 19 for you Knick lovers. And
Right. Everyone remembers
Patrick
that.
Ewing should have choked the guy during a timeout in the fourth quarter and just say, "Give me the ball. We have a chance." But of course that didn't happen. But those Rockets were 22 and 1. OKC is 22 and 1, and the only team better than all of them, which you'll recall, of course, is the I think it's the 15-16 Warriors were 23 and 0, and then they managed to lose to the Cavaliers, to Cleveland, to LeBron. Why? Because somebody got suspended for a game. I don't want to go back and redo that whole thing, but the Cavs were down 3-1 and they won.
Great comeback.
But I do have one stat. Congratulations to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He, when they beat the Mavs, he had his 95th consecutive 20-plus point games. And they did say on TV on ESPN, to their credit, because I always go, well, if he's second, who's first?
Oscar.
One guy ahead of him. It's not Oscar, it's Wilt. And then you go think about Wilt. This guy's done 95 games of 20 in a row. How long can he go for? And Wilt, and I did a lot of research here, Joe. Wilt had 126 games in a row. And then on the 120, in fact, it started at the beginning of the 61-62 season. The whole season, he was 20 plus every game. And then, so that would be, I guess it's 82, and then he'd have 44 in the next year. And then one day, I even wrote it down, January, let me see, what's the date? January 20th, 1963, Will Chamberlain scored 6 points in the game. Now, immediately, what are you thinking? What the heck happened?
He was
6
point, he
points?
was point shaving. He was point shaving.
I looked it up. I found the game, and Wilt was 3 for 4 to have 6 points, and he played 4 minutes. Why did he play 4 minutes, you say? Because in 4 minutes, he got 2 technicals. He was ejected.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. So
Telling you, investigate that man.
so you just look, and then because I'm out of my mind, as you know, I looked. He won another 19 games, 20 or over, and then he had one game where he had like I don't know 14 or 16. I don't remember that. But when you look at the minutes, Wilt was famous for playing 48 minutes, right? That one year he averaged 48.5 minutes because he played all the overtime minutes.
Yeah.
When you look it down, it just says 48, 48, 48, 48, 48, 4. There's something just wrong with that. Obviously, he wasn't going to play 48 and score less than 20, I guess.
Right.
But I give Wilt a lot of credit. I give SGA a lot of credit. They are 22 and 1. I'm even sick enough to look up their loss. Okay, they have one loss. It was to Portland. They lost 121 to 119 on November 5th. Now, why did
Wow.
they lose that game? Because I'm thinking, wow, they could have been 23 and 0 like Golden State. They lost the game by 2 to Portland because it was the day after they had beaten the Clippers by 19. And in that back-to-back game, they rested Holmgren didn't play. Dort, the great defender you found out about during the playoffs last year, and no Jalen Williams, who's a star in the making. If he's on
Yeah, of
the team, I think he goes superstar. But he's always going to be, I think, second fiddle to SGA.
course he is. Yeah,
But those three guys didn't play, and they lost by two.
it's a good squad. That's a consistent squad.
So who knows how many? I mean, they're playing to win. You always say, well, you don't want to, do you want to do too much? Because the Knicks won the championship their year, the Rockets won the championship their year. I'll say this forever: Golden State would have won the championship when they were down 3-1, 3-1 to the Cavaliers.
They're up three to
Would have
one.
won
Yeah,
the championship if Draymond didn't get suspended that game.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Gotta
I'm
keep your head. Gotta keep your head.
totally convinced that they would have won that championship. But
Yeah,
everybody in Cleveland was happy. Johnny was going to school in Cleveland at the time, and it was like the happiest thing in the world, as it should be. I mean, he
so,
did it.
yeah,
He
sure. It
did
was an
it.
unbelievable
Then
comeback.
when he left, we were also in Oberlin when he left, and it was the saddest. I'll never forget the headlines of the local. I should know the Cleveland paper, but there's a good paper in Cleveland, a regular newspaper, and they had him his back. I think when he came, they said, "Here comes LeBron." They had a picture of him walking towards them, and on this one, they had a picture of him walking away,
Yeah,
and he's leaving. But he did what he said he was going to do. He did bring a championship to
brought a
Cleveland.
championship to Cleveland.
But I'll never forget because we were staying in a hotel, and when we went down, they had just announced it, and like people were coming out of the bar in the hotel crying,
Yeah.
leaving. I don't think it was a big surprise, Joe.
No.
But to his credit, he said what he did what he said he was going to do, bring a championship to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So whatever, I don't want to go too far on that, but it's great to look at these old time records because now they pretty much go, last 50 years. If you go last 50 years now, you get rid of Wilt, you get rid of Oscar, anybody else from that time.
Probably why they do it.
But
Yeah.
at least for this one, I mean, nobody can do what Wilt did.
No.
It'll be interesting to see how many times Shea Gilgeous-Alexander can go for 20 or more. And once again, I'll say it, not that Wilt needed a three-point line. He didn't need a three-point line, but all these guys have a three-point line. And that's why, to some degree, even those records are not sure. But, he's a super duper star, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
He is.
Might be the best player in the NBA.
He's got a ring and maybe heading for another one. Been doing good
Maybe
stuff
heading for
there in
another
Oklahoma
one.
City. All right, my man. Great stuff as usual. You can check out Steve's stuff daily on his Facebook forum page, Speaking of Sports with Steve Kallas. Also, check out this podcast every Saturday. We're going to shoot for every Saturday morning to preview the NFL, and then we'll recap the NFL during the season on Tuesday mornings on YouTube and all the audio outlets as well. You can follow me on Instagram at Joe Staszak 4799 or on Twitter X at Joe Staszak 975. Great stuff, my man. Enjoy the weather. It's getting a little cold out there.
Same here.
Getting to look a lot like Christmas, man. What is it, December 6th? So 19 days. How about that? 19 days coming. It's coming. So good stuff, brother. Have a nice weekend. I'll be texting you. We'll be talking. And
Yeah.
folks, we appreciate you watching.
Always a pleasure, Joe.
You too, bud. We'll talk to you.